everyone. This is Connecting the World. This interview series is sponsored by Rehan Foundation and Institute of Peace. And today, my guest is Soumeya. Genuinely, she's from Algeria and now she's living in Paris. I'm very happy because she's a guest today. And today we learned lots of things from her because she is a good coach as well as she is doing a very good job in digital things. She is the global operation at Digital um, Africa, and she's a non-profit organization to connect with digitalization and the transformation in our world. So, hello, hi, Sumaya.
Hi, Sidra. Nice to meet you and to thank you for having me here. Very happy to join you today.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you. I'm very great honor for me because you are sharing a screen with us. So please, Samaya, I'm just trying a very poor attention to introduce yourself. So please, I request to you, please introduce yourself with my audience because we really want to know more about you.
Thank you. So my name is Soumeya Rachedi. I'm originally from Algeria. I was born and grew up in Algeria, North Africa, and came to France to study. And so my background is law. I was a lawyer for a few years, and so French qualified. I lived in India, worked in London as well, and Brussels. And a few years ago, I discovered entrepreneurship. I joined the Global Entrepreneurship Network, co-founded the Global Entrepreneurship Network in Algeria, and then was offered the job at Digital Africa as the COO, so Chief Operations Officer, then became the head of global partnerships and operations and global partnerships and global operations at Digital Africa. So these last few years I've been coaching many entrepreneurs, mainly in Africa, but not only, especially impact-oriented entrepreneurs, and doing work more oriented on embodiment and transformational coaching. My expertise is mainly around how to build systems, generative systems, and how to apply immersion strategy within our organizations and our leadership techniques. So I don't know if that answers your your question, but that's basically what I'm doing right now.
That's great. That's great. So I think not for us and most of the people, the word is entrepreneurship is a very new word for us because we just listen the same one thing as a business, business, corporation, uh, transformation, something at all. So please, what's your experience when you teach or when you guide the other peoples about the entrepreneurship, about the entrepreneur skills? So how's your experience about it?
So yeah, that's a great question because it is a buzzword. It has been used in many spaces where it is not allowed, and it was considered more like entrepreneurship being the way to revolutionize the world. For me, entrepreneurship is is a must now more than an imperative tool or anything like that. It's just like the world is transforming, and we are transitioning towards a very different economy that impose on all of us to be aware and to have some certain skills, not only survive but also be creative and create our own path. And for me, entrepreneurship is just a way to say how are we creating the environment and the way to do not only money, but how are we designing the life and the environment we live in. And entrepreneurship is a tool to combat fragility, become more resilient, and gain autonomy. And for me, entrepreneurship is just a way to talk about autonomization, and especially on the money-making side, probably. And that's what speaks most, at least to the entrepreneurs I worked with throughout Africa and the Global Entrepreneurship Network as well.
So you are also coach, right? So how you can support your coaching skill when you are going to convey the skills of business, conveying the skills of entrepreneurs. So how your coaching skills benefits or how the coaching skills is uh, providing some positive aspects in your trainings?
Well, that's has been like at the heart of my reflection these last few years. Coaching came to me. I didn't seek out a coaching career at all. It basically came to me, and I find like the coaches are more and more a necessity, because as individuals we need to be accompanied toward transitioning to this autonomization. And coaching, being a coach, has been so valuable to me in many levels, at many levels in my life, at the health level and the business level and career level in general, because I was a lawyer first, and changed career many times. So being a coach was just, I'm not certified, and I'm very open about it, because it's just this skill to be asking the question and to empower people to use their own resources. That's how it has been the most potent and powerful used on me, and that's how I would like, and I'm seeking to apply to my methodology. So coaching is a way of, for me, is the framework and methodology to how we ask the right questions for the people to find their own responses within themselves. It's not about instructing or teaching or transmitting per se. It's more about, this is the framework, these are the questions, I am guiding you, I am listening to you very thoroughly, I am understanding very well where you would like to go, and I am just asking you the right question to see if the path you are following is the one that is bridging the gap between where you are at the moment and where you want to go. Or if it's not the right path, how can we invent a new one, create a new one, just problem solve in a way that we can make things that seem impossible possible in maybe a shorter framework. Just we play with time, we play with space, and we see how we can create a new path, so just being inventive, etc.
So, how coaching is supporting us in our career, or someone is uh, contact with any coach, how coach help that person to achieve their goals, to guide their life skills, to guide their goals and missions of life. So, how coach is supporting us?
There are as many methodologies as there are coaches. You have the traditional coaching framework, well, many traditional coaching frameworks with the questions. It's very mental. You have the way of, setting the vision, setting the goals, following through action plans, massive action. You can do the neurologic work, the priming, and there are so many tools, very valuable and amazing. The school I'm going for right now, and I am very deliberate within it, is the embodiment school and transformational methodology. It follows a framework of immersions. It's inspired by permaculture. So what we do is the framework is within, like, there are 4 steps. We observe, we look at it, we set the vision and the objectives, and then we go for it, but following what emerges naturally, instead of setting something very out of context and disconnected from the ground and from the present moment, disconnected, just something that is so disconnected that it becomes too hard or too difficult on the body. So it's mainly what I consider it, like, especially around the immersions, the concept of immersion is developing a leadership or a methodology that goes within the rhythm of the body. So what emerges and how do we feel, how, I consider our body, my body, as the North Star. I've been, like, the whole work I've been doing came to me because I had an autoimmune disease and I had to manage it as a student first, and then build a career in spite of the pain I was feeling in my body. So I just learned to reconnect to the body and listen to it as a compass, and say my North Star is what I feel when I do something. And the immersion strategy is, okay, when I set up, what am I feeling, what I am drawn to, and does it fit the vision I set for myself? And this check-in and iterating constantly between the present and the future vision I set for myself, just it's a methodology and a tool set and toolbox that allows me to see if I am on the right path, or if the vision is maybe more connected to the needs of others more than mine. So just reconnecting to self, and it might sound mystical for many people, but it is the base, just creating as an entrepreneur or as a business person or as a coach. And my mission as a coach, as I consider, is empower the people I coach to reconnect to themselves in a very embodied way, or the most embodied way, in terms of feelings and how they act, and they embody the future vision they would like to embody. And how does it feel in their body? Is it freeing and expansive, or is it contracted and hurtful and hustling and survival?
Great. So, if I'm not wrong, here is a 15 plus coaching types in our area, in our society, in our universe. But which type of coaching is very, beneficiary for our youth to empower them, to encourage them to involved in entrepreneur things?
So the question is the tools to empower the youth, right? Yeah, what I found the most empowering for the youth I've been working in Africa, and I think it's probably very relevant for Pakistani youth, is making them feel in their body how powerful they are, and how powerful they can be in acting. And so it can be in terms of concept. We know the concepts of empowerment. You can do this, you can do that, everything is possible, reach for the stars, whatever. And it's all in the head. Okay, we see, we know all of this. I need to reach for the star. But in my body, if I know it, but if in my body it feels contraction and the fear emerges whenever I try to act, it doesn't work. So these empowerment tools is especially on a collective level. Like I have done workshops with in Algeria with the ELIP crowd, the Entrepreneurship, Leadership and Innovation program. I've been working with Yasmin and like a great team in Algiers. It was just gathering them, setting the vision or talking to them about the vision, and then doing this embodiment work. Like, how does it feel? How can you create the ease? And within the principle and the framework of somatics, we just perceive where it blocks. Like everything, all the blocks that you can feel when you act and that doesn't come to life when you're trying to interact with it, it's because it's within your body first. So going through it and do this liberation body or embodied work, it's like imprinting. It's really like, it feels like imprinting the future vision within the body, and it makes the movement and the action taking way much easier and natural. We procrastinate less, we postpone less, we do more, but the actions are really immersions. They come from really a feeling in the body that it is exactly the right path to go. And there is like a whole process of, it's movement with concepts and all mixed. It helps imprint everything in a way that is mind-blowing.
Okay, what would you like to change something in your world with the help of your coaching skills?
I don't know if it's gonna be through the coaching skills. I hope so. I told you, like, the coaching is very emergent. It came to me and I'm following the steps as it is the thing that I am supposed to do in the present. And I am very sure of that. And I think the skills I'm learning, they can help. What I would like to change in the world is really this feeling of powerlessness that we are born with when we are born, especially in emerging countries or in developing countries, as they say. Like, I grew up in Algeria during the civil war in the 90s. It was very tough and the country was very isolated. We didn't have visas. We couldn't go leave the country. There were like, bombings and stuff that, they isolate us. When I was watching like Western TV, and it was so disconnected from my reality that I didn't consider myself that being part of the world that could seek for this ambition and expansiveness and everything that comes with it. And then I just had this mind-blowing experience of going to, I think we lost Sidra. So I keep going. So just going from that the movement of feeling isolated and non-competent um, to opening up the world and the realm of possibility, even though I was Algerian. And what I would like to transmit or change is this feeling of powerlessness and really making it a feeling of powerfulness. Finding power even in situation where we are less privileged than what appears. I lost you for a bit. Hi, Sidra. Welcome back. So you're just saying, going, what I would like to bring is really this feeling of powerlessness and addressing this. And I am not a teacher per se. I want to accompany the movement of people taking back their power and creating a new realm of possibilities for them, especially in countries like African countries, Algeria, South Africa, Nigeria, or Pakistan and India, where we can find that feeling of powerlessness, like we have been excluded from opportunity for so long that it doesn't feel like we are concerned or involved in the global movements. And including ourselves in the global movement is by telling our stories, by building our businesses, by creating art, by just speaking our truth, by interacting with people wherever on social media in our countries, etc. Just make us part of this global movement, as we are entitled to be, really entitled to be part of the global movement.
Amazing. And a very satisfactory answer. Next question is about the digitalization. What do you think about that? The all worlds are converted in a global village. All things are transferred and digitalization, banking, shopping, eating, everything. So, what do you think about this change, this transformation?
Oh my God, we've been talking so much about it. And within within Digital Africa, but also within the ecosystem I've been evolving in for the last few years. I think digitalization is an amazing, wonderful tool, but for amplification, which means it multiplies everything. It catalyzes everything, every interaction, every story, or it has the potential at least to amplify everything. But it's for me exactly at the image and reflecting the dysfunctions of our world. Like, it's not increasing them or anything, but if the dysfunctions or inequalities or everything we are confronted to without the digital phase is amplified exactly as much as opportunities. So it's just, we need to, it's just a parallel to make. So I think it's a huge gift and we can capitalize on it, which means every positive action, the small action, the infinitely small action we take, if it's positive and generative and meant to build something good, it will be amplified, used in the right manner. Every community created, if it's 2 or 4 people at a time, with digitalization, it can become 400 in no time. Like, all of this is a possibility. It is an amplifier, a huge catalyzer of all the opportunities, but also all the destruction possible. So it's going to be the reflect of what we do with it as a collective. And yeah, are we profiting from the opportunities it offer or not? The other thing that bugs me a lot is the access to the digital phase. Like, we talk about not only the literacy part, which is blockage, but it reflects also the inequalities I've been mentioning and how it is amplified because many people will have multiply their access to opportunity through digitalization. But all of the people that lack digital literacy are going to be even more proportionally excluded from opportunity because of it. So it's, how are we using it? Like, how are we going to use it? And how can we be more inclusive is a whole other chat. I think we need a few hours to solve it. And I don't think we'll have the answer because it's a part of the global conversation.
Impressive. So the second thing is just coming in my mind again and again about the woman empowerment. So tell us about the women involvement in Paris economy and the Paris business. So how many women are involved in international business companies, or how many women are uh, connected directly or indirectly for any source of income or the economy contribution in Paris?
Well, I don't know very well the French ecosystems. Like, I am based in Paris, but my work has been more focused within Africa. And the numbers are very different, and the increase of opportunities is very different, because I feel that in many African countries, especially countries like Rwanda or South Africa or even Algeria, access to opportunity is like, um, for women, um, is is increased. Like, Rwanda offers more opportunities to women than France today. Um, but what I can say without without just presuming, like in France, what I can, and it's just a feeling, and maybe it's narrowed by the environment I am in, and I'm taking all the precautions to say that. What I feel is that France and many places in Europe are there is like a system of reproduction of the same structures, putting the same people in power. And the view of dismantling the culture of inequality is there's a lot of stigma around it. And even if it has been evolving these last few years because of all the talks and the lobbying we've been doing as women and women achievers and in business, etc., it's been really difficult to transform the old systems, because I'm going to speak very generally and broadly. I see that we are in a huge change. Some talk about a change in paradigm. Our system, or the global system of functioning, is collapsing. With the COVID situation that is amplifying and increasing the velocity of the collapse. But the collapse is not as we picture it, like as the apocalypse, even if in certain places in the world it looks like it. It's just like there is a system that is collapsing, and the new one that is emerging in parallel. And the new one might be positive, it might not be, but it is here. And what it says is just like the pyramid with the people on top just getting the mics, the platforms that can speak, they can decide, they can govern the world in a way. It used to work that way. This cannot hold anymore. Like today, because we can tell our stories, we are able to just horizontalize everything. It's just, how are we going to do it? What tools are we doing it to not repeat in a horizontal way the same pyramid going, just to repeat the system. So it's about new habit we create, because an old system is going on a loop, just to repeat itself. If we are not very deliberate in which system we are creating and what results or promises we want to have through this. And just this, and I will conclude on this, and it's the same for female empowerment. If women or brown people on a global level in general start speaking and sharing more and transforming the world, as I say, the smallest actions and the smallest organizations will become the big systems. That's the rule of fractals. The small is what become the complex system afterwards. So for the women lobbying thing, I can say that I can't see any revolution in the circles of power. I'm not witnessing it. I can see incremental change. I can see women that we don't, even myself as an Algerian woman, as the COO of an organization like Digital Africa was impossible in France a few years ago. Like, not few years, 8, but I wasn't, I outsider, completely outsider, alone as brown woman. And I don't think it was very valuable, interesting, empowering, whatever. But in terms of change making, it wasn't that easy because the system was still the same. So it's not a revolution per se. It's a revolution in terms of representation. I represent a part of the population who didn't access these spaces before, but no revolution happened, and no radical transformation. So that needs to take probably more time. I don't know if that answers your your question, but that's exactly what came up. I can't say it otherwise.
As a woman, I love to talk about the empowerment, psychological empowerment is importance. I'm just sharing with you, in your opinion, what is the importance of psychological empowerment for ladies in this world?
In terms of women talk, right? Talking about women. I mean, exactly as for the youth, I will go back to the embodiment part. Like we did the mindset, we did the psychology, we know what we need to do. We know what a woman leader should look like. We know the concept. We all read it. Like if we, as a woman, we wanted to achieve something, we, we get this ceiling. It's either the glass ceiling or the voice ceiling where we can't, like we're in a space, we want to say something and we're too scared and we're not in integrity with ourselves because we are in this space dominated by the old structure and we can't show up really and truly in integrity. So we know it and we just witness ourselves like, what the hell am I doing? Like I'm here and I'm not even acting the way I'm supposed to. And the psychology books did say, this is exactly it. Like we can know anything we want, and it's not about knowledge anymore. We know the psychology. It's about embodiment. How can we bring into our bodies? How can we make our body collaborate with us in this situation to be in integrity with our concepts and the knowledge we have, and the movement with our bodies in those spaces? So for me, it's not about psychology. Corner because you're too afraid or feeling like an imposter. How can we just find the expansiveness and just show up in a way that is free in an environment that make us feel small because nobody like us was here before, and it is a path of trailblazing for many people, or what, how are we showing up in those spaces? And it's iterative, it's not linear. Like you're gonna show up one time, you're gonna do the speaking, show up, be yourself, be in integrity, moving away, and the other time it's gonna be too exhausting and you're like, it's not my battle today, so I'm gonna stay silent and just collaborate with this BS that is taking space in this room. So I don't have the energy for that. I'm gonna just witness, show up and nod and go with the flow and whatever, it's either way, it's right, you're there anyway, so just show up.
True. Okay. Last but not least, last question. What three things you want to change in this world? It's just about humanity base.
Oh my god, for me it's the food, the access to food and water. We can talk about livelihood and everything, not only access to good food, like be able in our lands to be sustained and feel safe in this regard, like not having to struggle. For me, there's something that I cannot understand in our world. Like it's just how can we still with how can still people be hungry? How can we not have access to food guaranteed for everyone? That can't be, like, we can be organized enough to make it happen. It's not a lack of resources, we know it. And if we guarantee like the minimum access to good food and good quality water, it changes everything, because people, when they act for survival or from survival space, they are not in their power, true power. they can you can compromise or anything when your livelihood is compromised, you know. You're not on your in your creative power. And yeah, for me the first thing would be definitely food and the survival part. The next thing is just realizing how powerful we are in community. And um, we ourselves, of course we are powerful as a human being, but if the community does not support the individual, we can't really take it away. Like all the personal development and mindset and psychology field, if it's not carried by an ecosystem of Asians that are making the change in the same direction, uh, for me, there's always a limit. We can't go further. So just bringing the transformative power and saying, okay, we can build generative communities that support people getting out from survival mode and the unsafety of this mode to the power mode where we are change makers, not in a warrior mode, but really in a creative, generative, and community connected mode.
Thank you. Thank you, Soumeya. Yes, these three things are really important for our world, and especially food, because um, everyone need it. Okay, thank you once again for giving us your valuable time with us and giving your valuable time to Connecting the World program. In the end, any message for my audience who's are watching this show now, or who will watching after the recording this show? So please, any message from them who's are watching?
Oh, I have a question here. Why are you moving so often?
He's talking to me.
Oh, is it you? It's because there's life within us, you know? We're alive. So, are we taking questions then? Hi,
Here
Munib.
is just appreciation comments from Munib. And the next one is PK. He's just saying excellent, very good performance, outstanding work. Makbul Ahmed is saying good. And that person is from
Myanmar.
Myanmar. And this person is sending a best of luck for to you.
Thank you. And I have a question for you, Sidra. What
Yes.
what what are the things you would like to change in the world?
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm a speech therapist. I'm working as a special educators in Pakistan and Sahiwal. So I want to change the life of the special kids. I'm just trying to make their life independently. Hopefully, they eat independently, they go toilet independently, they just express their feelings for the hurting, trust, hunger. They must be expressing by their own words, because as you know that the mentally retarded or the mentally disordered child never speak properly as we both are speaking. So I'm just my mission to change their life more easier than their current life.
That's good. And if there are no other questions, I have another one for you.
Okay. The second thing is, I just love to empower the ladies, and empowerment does not mean that to fight other mans, to fight the other things, to break the rules. It's not mean for empowering thing. It's empowering thing that upgrade their levels, upgrade their economy, and as well as polish themselves. This is the mean of empowering myself, or empowering any girl who's are existing in this world. And the last but not least, again, it's related to my special kids. I love to built, and I love to develop a scenario or the environment where where all the special kids live with us, and without any discrimination, without any labeling. People will understand their behaviors and their tantrums. This is my dream.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So about the female empowerment, how are you embodying it in your life? Because you are like by
Sorry.
what you're doing with the kids as a
No,
woman,
I have
or
no kids. I have
no,
no
no, with
kids.
the
But
kids you're working with. Yeah.
I'm a divorced lady. I'm running a school where there's a lots of kids with me. So I believe they all are my kids.
Yeah, 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 the kids, I said, just not your. I'm also a divorced lady, so nice to. Hey. So, how are
So
you
Harris, give
embodying
me
the?
high five. I'm happy to see. I'm happy to. Nice to meet you once again.
Yeah. So, just wanted to like, how are you embodying the powerhouse you are? Like, what does it mean for you being an empowered woman?
In my definition for this, just upgrading our self socially, economically, um, about the level, grades, communications, connectivity, PRs. These all things are related that because it's not it's not easy as a single lady to survive in this world. So we have a lots of we need some lots of support from their business world, and on the social field as well as, and especially our extension families, because we live with them, like my parents, my family, my brothers, and the other extension family. So I think it's a very hard job for us, but for me, the basic thing is that the peace of mind and uh, financial support is very good for me. And two things are very important for me: peace of mind and the financial strongness.
Mm,
Financial uh, based is must be good.
I
From my
agree.
side, if you have a money, so you can get or find something and you just start the new initiative. You spend money on to other, you spend money on you, you will never go anywhere for help. This is my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, for me, it's absolutely necessary. Like, we cannot talk about women empowerment without talking, or youth empowerment, but without talking about the money part. Like, we need to be financially autonomous, being able, or at least having the skills, just the skills, acquiring the skills to be able to adapt in this economy, and not adapt on a survival mode, adapt on a generative mode, like being on a different level, creative, something that is thriving, not surviving. And we've been surviving for a long time, especially as women alone. We've been so conditioned to rely on men on the financial part that it is when we earn money, it is trailblazing. And that's why it's like it is so new to us. Like, I can feel in my body the resistance. It was like I was not supposed to. And my mother is an entrepreneur. She still is. And it's not. I didn't even have the limitations of not having a role model around me. I had, but even with a role model, there is this thing that I felt like I wasn't able to make money for myself.
Impressive, impressive. I love to meet that ladies who just independent, who work for themselves, who select their path by themselves. They never find any support. They never find any, the soft corner from the others. But
Yeah.
they're strong enough. They find their path by themselves and they achieve their target. That's fine. Perfect. Love you, Soumeya. I'm a big fan of you.
Me too. It's been great talk, and I would love to hear more about your work. Actually,
Sure, we will be connect after this. Thank
yes,
you.
please.
Okay,
Thank
have a good day.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching this very informative and very empowered video with us. And today, my guest was Soumeya from Paris, and she is a coach. She is an entrepreneur, and she's doing lots of work in digital Africa. Thank you. Share this video in different group. Bye. Take care. Allah Hafiz.